educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
I thank you very much for coming on today. Thank you for listening. I have a wonderful guest today, and this gentleman here, his purpose is related to business and to transform lives and organizations through leadership and culture within sports, education, and coaching. He believes that success is guaranteed when you follow your passions, you're innovative, and you create big value for your target market. He has been recognized as a human-centric leader, creating and developing high-performing teams built on trust and growth, which is something that we all need to work on, right? And passionate about driving cultures that promote enablement, ownership, and accountability. I thank everyone for coming on and listening today, and I thank Albino for coming on. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks so much, Maurice, for having me. I'm delighted to be here with you.
Sure, no problem. So you talk about you want to be able to transform lives, right? And empower individuals. Well, sometimes we have these great ideas, and we're not sure how to turn them into a reality because of we may not been taught, we may not have been encouraged, or whatever it might be, whatever is holding us back, our roadblocks, right? So how do we turn our ideas into reality?
That's an amazing question, because I've been working for a long time on exactly what we call in business execution. And if we take this concept of execution in business to an individual, to our personal lives, we're talking about turning, into reality what we want, what we think that's better for us. And as you were saying, yes, there's many things that are holding us back, but you know what? What's holding back ourselves is pretty much ourselves. In fact, it's not that something external, right? That's something I've been, learning through the years as an executive coach, as a business consultant, that many times our own execution is limited by our own perceptions of reality, by our own, internal thoughts that limit us, our limiting beliefs. And, in the end, our worst enemy, we can call it an enemy, is our internal judge, right? We have an internal judge that's sometimes is very harsh with us, right?
Right.
And we need to, have an internal battle with that judge, and we need to learn how to overcome these doubts, this self-doubt that we usually have, this fear that we usually create, because our mind creates a lot of our fears. And all that internal battle, that's what many times prevents us from doing new things, for putting ourselves out there, right? Because there's uncertainty, and our mind, our brain usually keeps us in a safe space, tries to protect us. And so we need to, to push through, and we need to use self-reliance. We need to use willpower. Many of the time. We need to overcome fear,
right.
Or we even need to do things even with fear. The fear is, many times fear is not going to disappear. We need to do things with fear, regardless of the fear. So that's just as an introduction. This is a great topic, but yeah, I would say as first answer to this question is the main challenge here is to learn to be aware of yourself, to be aware that you may be holding yourself back, and that you need to win that internal battle. That would be my first answer to that.
So as you're talking about this internal battle, as I was prepping the question, a lot of times that internal battle is not always us; it's always those that are around us, society, the culture. Who we, our parents, uncles, cousins. Whatever it might be, right? Even in the corporate world, it might even be our supervisor, if you will, or our coworkers. So how do you overcome? Because you said you're mentioning something that's internal, but sometimes the external drives the internal. So how are we able, or how would you suggest someone to turn off that external noise, if you will?
Yeah, totally. Obviously, we are immersed in an environment that affects us in many ways, and we need to adapt. We need to negotiate. We need to learn from the different maybe threats that we have out there. Obviously, it's like in strategy in the business. We need to be aware of the market, of the competition, etc. So the same happens with us individuals. We need to understand our environment. We can navigate towards what we need, what we want, right? And these external elements, we need to many times try to not become a victim of the environment. That sounds it's not easy, right?
Right.
But there's a moment in life that we need to start having clarity about where we want to get, what we want to do with our lives, right? What do we dream about? And we need to start pursuing that dream, because many times people think that they don't have an option, or their environment defines what their limits in their lives, and that's very sad. That's very sad. That's why I became a coach, mainly because I realized that people usually build their own limits, and they stay within those limits. But you know what? We shouldn't build those limits. We shouldn't become a victim of our environment. We should learn to think big. We should learn to navigate through uncertainty. But it's easy to say, difficult to do, right?
Right.
That's why I would like to share some ideas, some tips, and yes, you're right. There's an environment that many times is influencing us. It's limiting us, but we need to first of all be aware of that. Be aware of, first of all, who we are, what do we want, where are we heading to, and then see what's affecting and limiting us in our environment, so that we can start working things out. We can start pushing through these limits, right? And many times it's difficult to do it by ourselves, and that's why coaching is so helpful, right? Because it's or a therapist or seeking some help. It's always helpful, because you can there's fears that we have inside, and we need to overcome those fears, and this is always helpful to talk to someone and to listen to other perspectives, so that we can start finding different pathways, right? Because we usually have one or two options in our minds, but there's plenty of other options that we're not seeing. And it's always helpful to have someone that can give us more options, and can give us their perspective of the situation, and we can start being more creative and try different things, and try to be much more open to possibilities. So yeah, we are affected by our environment, but we need to start managing that and breaking from those chains that we are building, and we're on that are limiting us. Yeah.
So one of the things you had mentioned about was dreaming big, right? And sometimes our our dreams feel so big, we get fearful of that too. We're talking about fears, right? And sometimes that, because the dream seems so big and seems untouchable, it paralyzes us, right, to move forward. So what are some strategies that you had just mentioned, right? Share some strategies. What would be some strategies to kind of get over those moments like that?
Sure. Well, first of all, in order to dream big, we first need to make sure that we deserve to dream big, that we are capable of achieving great things. Because, if we don't think that we can, achieve great things, and whenever we try to think big, our internal self or our internal judge is going to tell you, what are you doing? You cannot do that. You're wasting your time. So first of all, we need to believe in ourselves. That's the first step, right? We need to be aware of who we are. And I would like to recommend a book. This book is one of the greatest book I've read. It's called Mindset. This book talks about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. What's fixed mindset is when people think that, okay, I was born here, I was educated this way, I did my studies here, so with this, I can get here, right? Everything is fixed, there's A plus B equals C, and that's it, right? And there's the other mindset, which is the growth mindset. The growth mindset says, hey, the possibilities are limitless. And I only need to, open my mind and try things, learn, and, fail as well. Learn from that failure and keep on growing, right? And eventually, if I keep on trying and trying, I'm going to get there. That's the growth mindset. So what I'm trying to say here is that people that have a growth mindset, that know that, by stepping up and by, trying day after day, they're going to get very far away, right? They're going to get eventually. But people that think, okay, there's no way out, the ones that have fixed mindset, it's much more difficult for them, right? And it's very difficult for them to dream big because they think that their environment just, put them in a box, and they cannot break free from that box. And so I would recommend, if you're feeling this way, I would recommend you to read this book. It's called Mindset, and it's a great book. And so that would be one recommendation.
Okay.
And because first of all, as I was saying, we need to work with ourselves, with our mindset, so that then once we realize that, okay, I'm worthy of great things, I can learn anything. Possibilities are limitless, right? You just need an internet connection, and you can through YouTube you can learn anything, right? And you just need that willpower and that internal motivation to do things, and you can get anywhere. Yeah. So that's the growth mindset.
Yes.
Okay. So you need to have that mindset first. Okay. Once you have that mindset, and you can also seek for help with a therapist, with a coach, etc., to be in that place, with that mindset. Okay. Then you need to identify where do you want to go. What's your ideal goal in life, your purpose. And there's another tool that I applied and I used with my clients. It's called Ikigai. This is a Japanese framework for defining what do you want out of your life. And so you can, Ikigai takes you through some, interesting questions, like, for example, what are you good at?
Okay.
What are your strengths, your talents? Hey, let's list those strengths, those talents. What are you good at? What are your passions? Okay, that's one group. Another group is uh, what can what can organizations can pay you for? No? What can you do for organizations? No? Okay, let's do a list on that. Okay, and then what the world needs. No? What we know that the world needs to be maybe more empathetic. The world needs to help people in need, to to do something about the pollution and the environment, the warming, global warming. So yeah, let's list what the world needs, and and you go on with some other lists of things, and then you start like crossing those lists. Huh? And ikigai is where everything comes together. And then you can realize, hey, I'm good at teaching. The world needs teachers that can empower kids so that they can take their future in their own hands and with a growth mindset, right? That's an example, and you know what? That's my example. That's something I did, and
Nice.
through doing it, I realized that I wanted to change education, right? I realized that that's like 10 years ago, and now I created a company that's doing just that. No? I created a company. It's called the Future Academy, and we are bringing together different frameworks from around the world in order for kids to have a different experience in education, where they can learn skills for the real life. I mean, finance, for example, how to sell, how to speak in public, things that we don't usually learn at school. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm bringing those very helpful things for life. I'm bringing those to an elementary school. Okay, so that's just an example that came from doing this ikigai
Nice.
framework. Okay?
Nice.
That's okay. So working on yourself, having the right mindset, then defining what you want out of your life, what's your purpose. You can use the ikigai framework, and after that, once you have clarity, then you need to build a plan, right? You need to build a plan, and start writing what are the steps that I need to follow, and start defining some dates and start working on your plan, right? You need to have a plan in order to progress, and and you need to have clarity on where you want to get. And I have this analogy that has helped me and my clients. We are so lucky to be here, right? We are. Imagine all the possibilities throughout humankind history in order for us to be here. So many things that happened, wars, but all our ancestors,
Right.
somehow survived and somehow had kids, and we're here, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we need to be grateful with the universe, with God, with our history, our ancestors, and we need to honor that. I think we're here for a reason, right? And the big challenge is we need first to realize that we need to be grateful. We need to be really to make the most out of this opportunity of being alive. And secondly, we need to find what's that reason, what's that purpose. So it's good that we have those kind of exercises like the ikigai, this talking to someone that can guide us and can help us with some feedback, etc., until we find what we really would like to have in our life with a growth mindset. And once we find it, there's an internal motivation, a big flame that comes from within that's gonna drive you. You need to light that flame, right? Once you have that, there's nothing that's gonna hold you back because you got it. So you need to find that. It's like falling in love, right? when you fall in love, you cannot stop seeing that person and seeking to talk to that person. It's more or less the same thing.
Right.
Once you find your purpose, you cannot stop pursuing that, right? So it's very, very important to connect with your purpose. right? And then you can build your plan. You start, reaching out to people so that you can, because we usually need to, build things together. We are social beings, and
Right.
we're, I know there's solopreneurs, but you can call yourself solopreneur, but you cannot do everything alone.
No, you can't. Most definitely you can't.
So yeah, start reaching out to people that can help you. Start, watching videos on YouTube around the topic that you are passionate about,
Mhm.
and from there, sky's the limit, right?
Yes.
And that's what I would recommend, to follow these steps.
Mhm.
And then once you're connected with your purpose, and there's also some coaches specialized in purpose,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
there's some courses online, in Udemy and Coursera, about how to find your purpose and how to use Ikigai. As I was saying, once you have an internet connection, there's some abilities to learn and to grow. That's how we need to think, right?
Yes.
And once you build your plan and start executing and start reaching out to people and start getting involved with that topic and become an expert in that topic, you'll start seeing your life, really turn into a dream, into something amazing. And so, and that's the biggest gift that you can give to yourself, right? To build your life, to turn that idea into a reality, as we
Right.
were saying at the beginning. And that's it. Those are the steps I would recommend.
So one of the things that you had mentioned was taking a look at the time that we live in currently.
Mhm.
And some of us are too nervous about the big moment, right? One. Or we don't recognize when is our time. Because sometimes we jump too soon and we're not totally ready, or we haven't done enough research or whatever it is, right? So I mean, we can go down a whole rabbit hole about time, right? So just one quick little idea of how would somebody be able to understand when is their time? What would be your opinion? Can you hear me?
I'm back.
Oh,
Yes, I
okay.
can hear you.
Okay.
I lost you for a moment. Sorry about it.
No problem.
You were saying sometimes
I was saying,
we
so when
yeah.
would you suggest someone to take advantage of the time that's provided to them? When would they know is that moment to jump in?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. Regarding timing, yes, time is a big thing, because obviously we have limited time, right?
Mhm.
And also the timing in business is key. And you know what? Yes, we need to prepare ourselves to launch our business or our big idea and to execute it. But what and you were saying, hey, maybe we need to do more research.
Mhm.
Uh, maybe we're launching too soon.
Mhm.
Okay, so when to do it? That's the question. Okay, um, there's not a unique answer for that. Uh,
Right.
Obviously, this depends on each situation. But
Mhm.
what I would say is, uh, there's never a right time. That would
Yeah.
be my answer. If you're waiting to feel ready,
Yes.
you will never do it,
Yep.
right? As
Yep.
I was saying before, you need to do it even if you feel you're not ready,
Mhm.
even if you are fearful, about anything. It's better to do something feeling not ready or not being ready at all than to keep on postponing, keep on
Mhm.
procrastinating,
Mhm.
and letting years and years pass by. And once you feel you're ready, maybe it's a little late. Maybe uh, you know things have changed. You're not so passionate. You don't have
Mhm.
the right energy, maybe. So I would say the most important part is to be passionate about what you want to do, and to have the energy to do it. So that you need to first ignite that internal purpose, and then go for it, right? Go
Mhm.
for it, and you can. It's better to to go right into it. And once you are inside, it's like, for example, let's use an analogy. Hey, I want to be a great swimmer, right? I want to compete in the Olympics, for example, right? Okay, so when am I going to be ready to the Olympics? Okay, you need to find a good coach, you need to train, you need to prepare yourself physically,
Right.
Nutrition, etc. There's a lot of things to do. How old are you? There's a lot of variables that you need to take into consideration, right? Okay, but there's people that could say, okay, I need 10 years for that. I need to, to learn everything about swimming, and maybe the first 2 years they just, watch videos, go to competitions, to watch people, and to go to the classroom, but they don't really get into the pool. That's an analogy that's a little extremist, but people sometimes don't get into the pool.
Right.
They learn a lot about swimming, in this example, but they say, whenever I'm ready, when I know everything, then I'll go into the pool. Okay,
right.
And I think that's a mistake. Okay, you should get into the pool as soon as possible, right? Because and start trying to swim and learn from doing, right? Not just from seeing, right?
Right.
And put yourself in a difficult situation. That's going to help you grow faster and learn a lot of things. So I would just say, as a conclusion to this, is push yourself into the pool as soon as possible once you are passionate about something, and you just put yourself out there. Be my advice.
Cool, man. I appreciate you coming on today. I appreciate all the nuggets and the gems that you've provided today. Let everyone know where they can find you and continue to get these gems from you.
Sure. You can find me in LinkedIn. If you look for Albino Sanchez, it's linkedin.com/IN/Albino Sanchez. Albino is ALBINO. I'm a LinkedIn, and if you can share the link, it would be easier also. And please feel free to reach out to me, and I can share more of these golden nuggets. And I'll be happy if you want to, have a free consultation about, what I do and this executive coaching. I would be happy to have a conversation with you.
Cool. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. But before I let you go, I ask that all my guests this one question. It's my would you rather question, right? So, would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
Well, I think I would go to fork in the road.
Okay.
What I like about it is that, well, first of all, you have more probabilities, right? Higher probabilities to hit the right one. But what I like about this is that you have less options, so it's like more direct result, and you don't waste much time maybe trying to figure out between 3 options. And as we were saying, time is so important, and we need just. And also, I like to be decisive, and I like to, once I decide, it's good to decide quickly and to go for it, right? So that's why I would go for the first option. Yeah.
Cool. I appreciate you coming on today, and I'll make sure that your LinkedIn will be in the show description for today.
Excellent, Maurice. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for this great show, which is amazing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you. And continue to listen to That Will Never Work podcast.
Excellent.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?